Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming over to the CNMI Homeland Security and Emergency Management Office. Want to welcome you guys to our office here. This morning we received heavy weather briefs from the National Weather Services out of Tizan, Guam. We also participated with their national weather briefs for the FSM. As we all know, and some of the information is already circulating out on social media, that there's depressions, tropical depressions in the FSM area. We are strongly monitoring that. And then right after that, we have our strategy brief with the National Weather Services, also to include the Homeland Security from Guam, and also monitored by the other agencies, federal agencies. With me, I have also to my left, Mr. Brian Beck from FEMA. He is embedded here in the CNMI, so he is with us throughout the briefs with this weather that we are monitoring. And to my right, I have Mr. Joey De La Cruz. He's our Emergency Operations Manager here for the Homeland Security for the State Warning Point area, where we received all the information when it comes into our office. With this morning, right after the brief, we come up with after our strategy plan, we also included the Governor's Public Information Officer. He's with us, Mr. Richard Belaris. He's also working with Mr. Joey De La Cruz, who I also appointed this morning for the Homeland Security Public Information Officer. So for HSEM, he is our Public Information Officer. During this process and until further notice, he's going to be our Public Information Officer. We wanted to consolidate our informations together and make sure that we have controlled our information on how we publish out our information to the community. Then this afternoon at about 2 p.m., we called in our emergency management, EMAC, called Emergency Management Coordinators, and we had a brief this afternoon with also our governor, Governor Palacios, joined us this afternoon, and with all the other department heads, and we did our heavy weather briefs. So we did this because for two reasons. We are approaching the weekend, and many of us will be off during the weekends, but should that we need to call them up, they are all aware of our status and where we're at with this. And also, we understand next week it's going to be very busy with the school activities. School graduations are happening, and we wanted to also make sure that we have information for their planning on these events that are coming up. So with that, if you have any questions, I have Mr. Joey De La Cruz here too, who can answer some of the questions, and Mr. Brian Beck from FEMA can answer some of their questions if you guys have.
Yes, just for Mr. Beck, just FEMA's involvement thus far and plans moving ahead, tracking the developments.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the question. So obviously we've been tracking it along with National Weather Service since about midday yesterday. Currently, we are not expecting there to be any significant impact to the CNMI right now. However, we are taking preemptive steps to prepare for that and possible landfall in Guam. Region 9 Administrator Mr. Bob Fenton has deployed an IMAT team right now, is on their way to Guam as we speak, and we'll just continue monitoring it basically on a 6-hour cycle.
And for those who don't know that term, IMAT?
It's an Incident Management Assistance Team. So it is, team is typically anywhere from 20 to 30 folks that are emergency responders, and they are the first boots typically on the ground outside of the FEMA integration team members like myself and Chuck Otta and Lori Willis in Guam. So, yeah, we'll just continue to monitor the situation, hope for the best, and prepare for the worst, of course, on 6-hour intervals.
When you mentioned EMC, Mr. Franklin, older Mr.
EOC,
EMC?
EOC, Emergency Operations Center.
No, sir, the emergency.
Management, group.
Coordinators.
Yes.
When you're saying that, are you talking about personnel from different agencies?
Yes, yes.
And this includes the PSS, shelter in place, emergency other responders?
Yes, yeah, they're all part of our group. We discuss those things in their preparations too, to just start leaning forward, on those. So PSS was part of us. They were in our meeting this afternoon.
So, with that briefing earlier, I believe you guys talked about the resources available, the preparedness, and anything else that you would like to discuss. I think you guys discussed about that. Anyway, are we prepared? Are we ready? How's our status in regards to our overall response capability?
The first thing we wanted them to know is from their side of their areas of responsibilities, what they currently have within their areas to secure whatever they can secure right now, to include their facility, whatever vehicles they have to just secure it over the weekend, and then their personnel status. Should we need to call certain personnel to be up here, that they are aware once we notify them that we need the following personnel to report here. With that, we're going to develop our own group for the response group, and then we'll work on shifts with them. So these are some of the things that we are planning, and that they are aware of these plans should we have to call in more personnel and work with the groups with us.
You want to add in?
Yeah,
You wanna add
Zoe?
into that?
Well, thank you for that question, Brian. And yes, when we talk about the multi-agency coordination group, they all provide an emergency support function to the state, like what Special Assistant Babalta said, whether it's transportation, utilities, public safety, medical, and we have representation from the state, to safeguard our community, to cover, their areas of responsibility in unison, in coordination with the State Emergency Operations Center and in guidance with our incident commander up here. Yeah.
And so, local residents are watching. What should they be doing at this moment?
At the same time, we want them to be aware that we have this weather information that is being passed out, and to watch for what's going on, to be informed. The National Weather Services is also available. They'll be putting out their briefs on, or open up on any questions that our community should have. They can also answer those questions. Our Emergency Operations Center is also open 24 hours up here. Should they have any questions, they can call the Emergency Operations Center at 670-237-8000. Should they have any questions for further information, inquiries that they are interested or want to. But we just want also the community to be safe out there and start preparing when they have a chance that, whatever is loose outside their residence, to secure them. They need to start planning on what they need to secure, their buildings or house or any facilities that they have, to start leaning forward and just to be prepared. Because being prepared is better than not being prepared. So, like what we're doing too, we're doing this in advance. We don't want to wait till the last minute to call and do our preparations within the last minute, because we don't want to be running around and you got too many things also to do. So just like with our government officials that we also call in, we also advise them to also take care of their own personal family, their personal things, even their residents, so that they can also be prepared for to respond and assist, shall we, or should we need their assistance also to come into work. So that's what we wanted them to do in the community as well. We also like to advise those that are going out into the waters. That was also put out that, you know, the water can be very rough during this time, and to be very, very cautious and be very careful and monitor the weather situations if they're going to go into the water during the weekend. And again, just to be safe out there.
Maybe you wanna add anything on?
No, but what we want to do is just ensure the community that the Homeland Security Emergency Management is keeping a close watch on this system. We ask everyone to stay tuned for updates as it evolves quickly. Really, for the condition of readiness, we are in anticipation of National Weather Service watches and warnings, which is still too early to predict or to forecast at the time. So as those information become available to us, we will put official information all channeled through our Joint Information Center, which Richard Belleris would be your direct point of contact. Thank you.